And on that happy note, let's move on to some more screonkling.
What?
Screonkling? It's like spelunking, but it's with screonks. Screonkling.
Oh, I'm into it.
Yeah, there you go. Ryan's into this.
I like cave diving, yeah.
All right. Cave diving with Godzilla.
Yeah. It's a big cave.
We are reviewing Godzilla King of the Monsters
Are
this week.
Godzilla spine stalactites or stalagmites?
Yes.
We are reviewing Godzilla King of the Monsters this week. So full spoilers for the latest in the Monsterverse, the latest Godzilla film. If you have not seen the movie, go to your nearest movie theater, go see it, or carry on at your own leisure.
See it on the big screen.
But you have been warned. Spoilers from here on out.
I don't know why
Godzilla's
you're
in it.
listening if you weren't prepared. Here we go.
Yeah.
So it's Ben. Initial thoughts, my friend.
I freaking loved it.
Okay, Ryan.
I liked it.
All right, Sparks.
I had a good time.
All right, that's it. Thanks for coming, guys. I'm kidding. All right, so let's get into it. So the movie starts.
What did you think?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
So the movie's.
We knew it.
Oh yeah. I didn't want to tell you because I was worried.
We
that
knew.
If I
You didn't need to tell us. We knew.
if I had told you, I feel like you would have gone in with higher expectations.
I'm, if anything, I'm glad because you might like it less then
Yeah.
if you had higher expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted you. I just want everyone to like things. So this movie starts in 2014.
Yeah.
It starts it starts during the final fight.
Guys, this movie
The 2014
is
movie.
very reminiscent at the beginning of BVS for me. And not in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes place during the big event from the last movie, and it transitions to the future
Like,
with the characters.
we see Aaron Taylor Johnson's character skydiving. We just see like the
Yeah.
lights.
Yeah,
falling.
but it's not meant to give a worse perspective of that event.
No.
It's just meant to be that event again.
I like it.
Well, kind of. It's kind of meant to give a worse perspective because it's them not being able to find their son.
True.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, we
tragedy
did.
that we had not seen because in Godzilla 2014, the characters we followed reunited.
Yeah.
And
they
we're
have plot,
fine.
They have plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. And then we see them screaming, and then and then Godzilla breaks through a building and roars.
And Vera Farmiga is all like, "Oh, you mother."
And then Kyle, what's his name?
Chandler.
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler looks up, sees Godzilla, and then
He plays Mark Russell.
Mark Russell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Russell is the writer of the Flintstones comic.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Lord.
You're right. Right, so we're introduced to Vera Farmiga on the off. She is the character we follow until we meet Millie Bobby Brown, and then Mothra. It's kind of how the events of the opening go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Mothra scene.
I did too.
That opening Mothra scene.
I the lava scene, right?
Yeah,
I love both scenes Mothra was in.
I like the design. Mothra has the biggest redesign of all the monsters. I kind of into it. I like the new look for Mothra.
Yeah.
It grew on me.
The larva form could have been cuter.
It could have been cute.
I don't know. I always thought the larva. I never liked the larva form.
That larva form's
Oh, it's so cute.
that larva form's pretty cute, my friend.
I'm sorry. No,
You know what my favorite
I'm
larva
not
form
into it.
is? Shin Godzilla.
Oh boy.
Wiggle worm, baby.
Why'd you have to do that?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm gonna like mix all my negatives and my pros here. In that first scene with Millie Bobby Brown and Vera Farmiga, there's this whole thing where she brings up, "Dad's been emailing me," and there's this weird attitude that Emma Russell, Vera Farmiga's character, puts out of, like almost implying that her dad is dangerous.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the film never really explains or explores that. And I was like,
If anything, she's the way worse parent.
Yeah.
Well, I
she's
guess
just like pathologically trying to turn her against her father.
I think what it's supposed to be is because he became an alcoholic and left, that he abandoned the family. So like she has resentment to that.
I get it. I didn't like the way that the film handled this idea of her kind of promoting her daughter to not like her father.
Sure.
I didn't like it, mostly because I think there was never proper time given to it for it to be anything, so I could have just done without it.
See, my problem with that is it was a lot of telling me, not showing me. So it was like, yeah, I was an alcoholic. I hate that she saw me that way.
Sure.
And it was just a lot of like, oh, I was a bad dad. I'm like, yeah, but like, telling me this is not going to make me feel that you're a bad dad.
Yeah.
Because you're a great dad right now.
Because everything.
Just by virtue of not being Vera Farmiga, he's a great dad.
Oh, 100%.
And even when like they show any flashbacks of them, it's always happy flashbacks of the family.
Yeah.
Ben, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say that I was totally fine with them. Okay, full thing. I mean the human stuff in this movie, it's fine. It's a lot better than 2014. But I'm not here for human shit. I'm not. I'm here for giant monsters beating the ever-loving shit out of each other.
I agree with you.
Same thing with Pacific Rim. I'm there for robots fighting monsters. I got what I wanted. I freaking love this movie. And that being said, when people are bitching about, oh, there's like the human stuff was bad, I thought it was fine. I could actually relate to the parents kind of going at each other.
Ben, I'm going to systematically tell you why I dislike almost half these characters in this movie.
Okay.
But not right now.
Yeah, but I'm saying their story arc was fine.
Can I bounce off of that?
I can live with it.
Yeah.
Can I bounce off of that real quick? So if you want to split this movie up, it's 50% monsters, 25% humans, 25% humans, because the human plot line is split between two subplots that inform each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stuff with Monarch, Kyle Chandler, Sarazawa, all of them, I'm way into that. I like those characters. I'm so into that plot line. I like that. Vera Farmiga, Charles Dance, I like Millie Bobby Brown, but that whole subplot, check out.
I agree. I also think... I think Millie Bobby Brown should not have been in this movie. I think she detracts from the main characters, and I think she's just to be a kid. She's the kid in this movie, and I think a lot of the drama is taken away when you already have a child who's lost, and then you have this child with plot armor, with Ghidorah literally falling in front of her like it's nothing. I think if you would have got rid of the first child, got rid of Millie, and focus on the two adults and their drama of them being married and divorced and all that stuff.
I'm going to counter that and say that what I think actually didn't need to be in this movie is Charles Dance. And if Charles Dance wasn't in this movie and Vera Farmiga was just straight up the person making these decisions, and Millie Bobby Brown was the sounding board off of that, then she's useful. That story makes sense. It's now this thing between that family and Monarch.
That's fine,
Charles Dance wasn't necessary for this.
I think the crux of my problem here is there's too many characters.
Yeah, like Charles Dance, he's kind of going off a half-century war. He's kind of like discount Deverich.
And I say that...
Vera Farmiga is Deverich.
No, yeah.
Is Deverich.
And I say that liking every moment that he's in just because I like the way he talks.
Who, Charles Dance?
So, yeah. But I say, like, he was the unnecessary element. I don't think Millie Bobby Brown was the unnecessary element. I think she was just executed poorly into the structure of the story they wanted to tell.
If you lose Charles Dance and Millie Bobby Brown, you have a much stronger, tighter, focused story.
I think if you lose just Charles Dance, you have a stronger story.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys like Charles Dance from
Game of
Thrones.
He's also the villain in Last Action.
He's also in Dracula Untold.
He's also in Alien 3.
He has. This has the same ending as Dracula Untold. The Charles Dance looking at the camera, going, "Well, the game is on."
Oh my God, it's
he
true.
Doesn't say that,
the game
he
is on.
says, "We'll take it."
I don't care. It's the same thing.
It's the Weekly Planet. The game is on.
Yeah. I think that Charles Dance is his whole thing comes to nothing. It's dumb.
I agree with you. He's at least a great B-movie British bad guy. Vera Farmiga is phoning in half of this performance.
That is true.
And that's disappointing. Mm-hmm. Charles Dance is at least committing to the B-movie he is in.
And honestly, I think that's why I like the Monarch plotline. Because everyone in that room is committed.
And it was so disappointing that Vera Farmiga was phoning in half of this. I was so sad. I was like, why? You're so good. Why are you throwing half of this away?
Yeah, all the Monarch stuff I like.
Yeah, all of Kyle's, like, one of, what's her name?
Vera Farmiga.
Yeah. Like, when she called in and did her, like, I'm the bad guy, this is my bad guy reasoning call. Like, she was just, like, being very monotone. But, Kyle, what's his name?
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler.
Why can I not remember their names?
You're normally very good at names.
Normally? Yeah, you're right, I'm not. But when Kyle Chandler...
No, I'm serious. You're much better at, like, remembering names than I am.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you can remember character names that I wouldn't even begin to remember.
Probably because they're character names, not their real life names.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, but when he's yelling, like, him, he's, like, fully committed.
You're out of your goddamn mind!
Yeah. He's into it. He's like, hey, you're creepy, and she's like, and this is something you can't run from. I'm like, was that supposed to be hurtful?
And now see,
yeah, because he ran from his dead son.
And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of why I like the Monarch section of this is because every single one of those people on that super awesome ship,
yeah, it was cool,
is committed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're 100% committed to the dialogue they're spewing,
and that's awesome. And the sad part about that is that you have a lot of talent on that ship, not being utilized most of the time.
Sure.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not in this movie nearly enough.
Yeah.
For how excited I bet he was to be there.
But he does get that good one F-bomb.
He transports a lot. He has some sort of transporter.
Yeah.
But he does get that line of when Ghidorah first rises from the ice. He's like, "Oh, you gotta be effing kidding me!" I'm like, "Okay."
Can we? Speaking of that awesome ship, can we?
The Argo.
The Argo. I really hope I'm not alone in thinking this, but the Rodan sequence is awesome.
Oh,
it's awesome.
You're not alone. That's great.
All the kaiju stuff I like.
The moment Rodan comes off of and like this comes with like this works for me, specifically in the Rodan sequence when Rodan goes after the Argo, is flying after the Argo, shooting down all those ships, and you got Rick, I forgot his last name, but I forgot his actor name too, the white-haired old man scientist guy. The actor name.
Bradley Whitford?
Bradley Whitford.
Oh, okay.
When he's there, he's like, gold team, da-da-da-da-da. And it was like, hold on, guys. And like, everyone's into that. I'm like, I'm so into this.
Rodan doing barrel rolls and like his flame is like lighting people on fire.
Like shooting up into the sky. Like
really,
how they're trying to get
pilot who ejected from the
trying to get Rodan to Monster Zero, and they're just like they're into the scene, and they're like, go.
60 seconds.
Kyle Chandler's trying to drop the thing. It's like, I'm into that sequence.
No, it's a really great sequence. It is 100%. I want to keep us, I think, on the human stuff, and then go to the monster stuff, because I feel like we'll all have more nice things to say about the monster
I
stuff.
have nothing mean to say really about the monster stuff.
Exactly. So like we'll gush and gab and go out on a high note. Human wise, I told you this right after we saw it, Brandon. I have a big problem that Kyle Chandler carries over, the same problem I had with Aaron Taylor Johnson, where he suddenly becomes the everyman.
Yeah.
He does every important thing and makes every important decision in the movie for the most part, which makes no sense because he's the guy who got called in and brought in and like, hey man, we just need you to find Orca. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hold on, I think I can figure this out. Open the shield doors. Oh, look, he's tracking here. Well, we got to go to Antarctica.
He has like
you
a
do all these things, and it's like
relationship with Godzilla now too.
Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins and Bradley Whitford and Thomas Middleditch are all these actors who are talented and on this ship and have been more involved, and none of them are making these calls. What?
Yeah.
Way to waste your cast. All of these little things that he does that Marc winds up doing should have been delegated to different characters, and he just should have had a clear path that was tied to what he was capable of and his family. Mm-hmm. The fact that he suddenly is like responsible for every important thing in the movie, hated it. It felt forced. It felt like we're just shoving this guy in as the narrow focal point rather than this being an ensemble piece. So I agree with you. Excellent cast. Unfortunately, most of them are there just for good one-liners.
And I really like Kyle Chandler as an actor. Like
I'm not knocking him.
No, I know. He is like one of the best like everyman type of guys. But that's what he was an everyman, and now he can do everything in this movie. And like I'm not going to repeat everything you just said, but like he was brought in to help with like because his family's missing, and then he becomes the superhero of the movie. I'm like, there's clearly a bunch of other people who have way more that they can do.
There are things. You're right. There are things that, like what you're talking about when they're at Outpost 54. Which is the Bravo Charlie, the Bravo Castle Bravo.
Castle Bravo.
And it's Godzilla's hunting grounds, and he's the one who tells them to lower the weapons. He's the one who tells them to open the blast shields.
It doesn't make sense. That should be coming from Sarazawa.
Even Vera Farmiga,
for sure.
who's supposed to be like the research lady. He's like, well, I built the prototype because I'm the smart one, actually. I'm like, you don't have to do everything.
Right.
Well, also, an army colonel, she's given orders. I'm pretty sure she would not be like, yeah, sure, I'm going to follow what this guy's saying.
Aisha Hines, another person not utilized as well as she should be.
Is that Foster?
Yeah, Foster.
The bald lady?
Yes.
Yeah, she's cool.
Okay, so these are characters that I did enjoy. I do agree they're underutilized, but they're characters who I enjoy. I enjoy the Chen. I liked her a lot. I know she hardly had anything to do, but she was kind of... Essentially, she was kind of like the miscellaneous the host of the group. Who she was going through all the...
She's the exposition lady?
Well, also she's going through the myth and legends.
Yeah.
And also, twins.
No, yeah, that's...
Twins.
That's great.
Super cool. They didn't actually do anything with it.
True, but I still liked her.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I guess we can cycle it into the human thing. So the idea is that Dr. Chin is the latest generation of twins of the Mothra twins.
And when they show the sister, she is with Houston Brooks, who I talked about in the comic. That's the black guy with the glasses that's there. He's the older version of the character from Kong. Mm-hmm. So he's carried over, and I was like, that's an odd cameo, but cool.
Yeah, it's been a while since I last seen Kong, so I didn't know who he was.
Well, he's a different actor anyway.
It's 40 years later.
And they even one of the things that I was cued into is that they talk about Kong and the Hollow Earth a lot.
Yeah.
And that's from Kong Skull Island.
I was totally cool with that.
One of the things, so she is the latest generation of Mothra twins. That's something that I really like, and I saw you kind of do your little okay symbol at the screen, is that when she's talking about her family, she's from a long line of twins. Each one of those actresses that play her mom and her grandparents are previous Mothra twins from the old Japanese movies, and I thought that was really sweet.
It's really sweet. Yeah. I was nervous. I think we talked about it when the trailer for this movie was coming out. That I was nervous that the way they were marketing this was this big bash Godzilla being the hero and the 3 other monsters being villains. Mothra was marketed that way too, like she was going to be dangerous and a force to be reckoned with too. And I was like, man, I really am bummed that we're kind of throwing away Mothra's whole I'm the protector of the earth and giving it to Godzilla. I'm glad that didn't happen. I am glad that did not happen.
Because the way they structured this Godzilla, he and Mothra would be on the same side.
Exactly. And I really appreciated that. It's never been structured that way before, and that's really cool. And I love the song being there.
Yes.
And I love the twin thing. I just wish that they'd actually done something with her knowing a lot about Mothra or something like that, instead of it just being like a hey, you remember the old movies, right?
Like when they're in the briefing room and they're and Mothra shows up, and she tells Kyle Chandler something, and the Kyle Chandler's like blah 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 blah. She should have been the one to go up to the Colonel and be like blah 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 blah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I liked her. I liked O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Barnes, and I liked Foster.
Aisha Hines.
Yeah. I liked those 3 a whole lot.
Yeah, I did too. I just
hope that they come back for the next movie. I did like everyone else, but I liked those 3 the most.
And I'll be fair. I think Aisha Hines is in the movie pretty much the appropriate amount for the character she was given.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that she's a lady taking over that army position that normally would be given to a dude, which was cool that the Admiral from 2014 it shows up as dropping an oxygen bomb.
I liked how he showed up a few times.
I did too. I thought that was really cool.
You can't drop that oxygen bomb because that's a whole section we got to talk about. That oxygen bomb.
But Aisha Hines, I thought she was in the appropriate amount. Like you got a lot of characters. I was invested enough in her. I liked her. She was fine. I do think O'Shea Jackson Jr. needed more time. I think the twins needed to be treated better.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I think between Thomas Middleditch being there and Bradley Whitford, who are kind of similar in their roles in a sense, I think Bradley Whitford probably more important, but I don't know what exactly Thomas Middleditch added most of the time.
Monarch Man.
Which is why I'm saying there should have been people on that ship who were each an expert on 1 or 2 of the kaiju themselves.
Right.
Thomas Middleditch could have been the expert who'd done all the research he could on Ghidorah or on Rodan, and I would have thought that was great. That would have given him purpose and something to do.
Yeah.
And again, delegate out these positions of importance and relevance because it's way too much mostly Kyle Chandler and sometimes Ken Watanabe.
Yeah.
That really irked me, especially that Sally Hawkins, poor Sally Hawkins, did not get enough to do in this.
I honestly, I think a lot of the ladies, not a lot of ladies, but I think a lot of them got shortchanged in this movie. To be honest,
the first time I saw it,
especially Sally Hawkins,
I didn't realize Sally Hawkins died.
The first time I saw it,
I had no idea.
The first time I saw it, I saw it with Zara. She taps me on my shoulder, and so I turned to look at her because she's going to tell me something, and I missed it. I missed that Sally Hawkins had died until I saw Ghidorah stomp down. I was like, "I'm sorry, did I?"
And in case you guys missed it, I think the movie also missed it because they put a big deceased picture just in case you missed it a minute later. Hey, if you guys missed it because this is shoddy filmmaking
with Ken Watanabe looking sad next to
it. I think they killed both Sally Hawkins and Ken Watanabe in this film.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. I kind of wish one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sally Hawkins definitely could have been the person who should have survived, especially if you were going to take Ken out of this movie, because she would have been the person who was closest to him to have all the same information and be like, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I did not like the way that they handled her. This is, again, we're focusing on the human stuff. This is why the human stuff was problematic.
Yeah.
You had this, it's a spoil of riches. Mm-hmm. Is that the right phrase? Yeah, it's a spoil of riches.
Embarrassment of riches.
Embarrassment of riches, thank you. It's an embarrassment of riches because you have all these people who carry a lot of weight and talent, and you're not utilizing them.
Yeah.
I think Bradley Whitford is utilized fine.
I think it's a lot of fun.
He is a lot of fun. He's very much just his character from Cabin in the Woods in Godzilla now, and I'm okay with that. I just wish the other people around him had been given as much to play with, not necessarily in the jokey sense, but to do.
I didn't want to bring this up, but I think I want to now. I've heard something, and I don't know if it's coming from the writer or something, but CBR posted an article saying that Rick, I think his name is Rick Stanton, is actually based off of Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty.
Who's Rick Stanton?
That's Bradley Whitford.
Bradley Whitford's character.
Oh, that. If that's true, that's the loosest of, because that character is not at he makes jokes, but guess what? We all make jokes.
Yeah,
he's not obviously it's a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
Rick Sanchez is an R-rated character,
but he's not drunk like Rick. He's not mean like Rick. He's helpful.
And also,
he's not at all like Rick.
I mean, he has his way one line. He's like, "Oh, what? You want to invite him in for a beer?"
And we all do
and like
witty one-liners.
even if on paper that character had been based off that, Bradley Whitford made his own thing. It doesn't even matter.
And I really like. I think Bradley Whitford might actually be my favorite character. I'll be honest, because he gets a lot of
the best lines.
He gets a lot of the best lines, and and I like again in the Rodan chase. I like him a lot in that one when they're like, so what do we do? Oh yeah, Serizawa's old "let them fight" mantra.
Yeah,
love it when he used to
he
say
did
that.
Yeah.
Like I like a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
He was a fanboy.
No, like it's cool. There are good moments. I think every actor has at least one good moment, but there should be more than that for me to say about them.
Yeah.
This was a film that feels like it was set up with an ensemble, and it actually only utilizes a couple of them.
And I would love to see at least the Monarch cast come back for Godzilla vs. Kong.
I agree with you, and I think a good chunk of them are, if not all, who survived. But
the only ones I think are confirmed are Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler.
But I really hope that they do more with them. This again, like I just really go back to like, I wish that Marc had been there for Marc's purpose and not everybody else's purposes too.
I agree, yeah.
If that had happened, I feel like naturally everybody else would have been more involved, and the whole human plot, that side of it, would have felt a lot better. It wouldn't have fixed the villain stuff, but it at least would have made everybody feel like they were there for a reason.
You know,
Yeah,
it's the main character problem when we have this main character. We have a main character. That main character has to do everything. It's
It's the same problem we have with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, it's kind of bad writing in the sense that we need to have this character do everything because he's the main character. He's the main person. I would have liked to have seen more of an ensemble, like you said.
Yeah, especially because you have the cast there.
And again, not to bring up other great Godzilla movies, but think of Shin Godzilla.
That
Has a cast of dozens, and I don't know any of their names, but I care about more than all of them because all of it feels more real and more personal.
And the thing is, like, that's helped from the fact that I think like the strongest Godzilla films, usually with characters, they've usually had those characters be far away from the action majority of the film, rather than in the middle of it, because the thing is that it's very hard to track a main character being present for all the events of these giant kaiju because it doesn't make sense how they get to every beat.
They should be there for everything.
Because it doesn't make sense how they get to every beat.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem with Aaron Taylor Johnson in 2014. We suffer from that a little bit here because it is this forcing Kyle Chandler into that role.
But in this one, I think getting the characters through the main beats of the film is better handled because
I agree.
They're chasing a MacGuffin that the monsters are around.
It is better, but you're still cramming Marc out to the front when he should be hanging back and others should be more in front. Like there's the whole. You know who would have been better to follow? Like, I understand the tension of the moment, why Marc is the person who goes running in to try and save his family when they're at the Ghidorah Antarctica's thing. But I would have much rather seen Aisha Hines and O'Shea Jackson Jr. being the ones who got close to the family, and him, like, talking to them on the monitor, like, saying, get them out of there, get my family, and, like, having Marc on the phone or something. Rather than Marc being the person who ran in, I'm like, he's not...
Oh, you mean, like,
he's not this guy.
Soldiers
he's not this guy.
Like, do soldiers
He's got it. He's the only guy who can grab the elevator to save the soldiers. He does all these two important things.
I want to talk about this Easter egg before I forget it.
Sure.
I told you guys this at dinner that each of the outposts that we see are the numbers coincide with the year that each of those monsters debuted, with the exception of King Ghidorah. And even then, King Ghidorah's debut year is on the wall in that outpost. So I think it's Outpost 54 is Godzilla, 1954. Outpost 61 is Rodan, and 56 is Mothra. So Outpost 56 is Mothra, and Outpost 61 is Rodan.
I think you switch those. Let me double check that.
Oh yeah, if you want to double check.
They're old.
So either way, I think that's a cool little Easter egg. There's many more Easter eggs, and that goes to what I think
Mothra's 1961.
Oh, okay. And so that goes to, I think, one of the best things about this movie, which is Michael Dougherty clearly loves the source material.
100%. There's a lot of great kaiju.
And there is love in this movie.
No, that was one of the things that why I think for me when I
deep breath.
When I finished watching this movie, I talked to Fanny and talked to my friends who I saw it with. I'm like, if you know Godzilla, if you are a fan of
go Godzilla,
if you are a Heisei era fan, a Showa era fan, or even a Millennium era fan, if you know those eras, if you have seen multiple Godzilla movies, you are gonna love this because it plucks a bunch of great Easter eggs and a bunch of great like the second they find Ghidorah, and Millie Bobby Brown calls him Monster Zero, I'm like, no way. And Failing Zoro is just like, what's Monster Zero? I thought that was Ghidorah. I'm like, don't worry, I'll tell you later.
And one of the things I really like about this film, so I've been posting a lot of Godzilla stuff on Instagram, experimenting with my Instagram posts. One of the things I talked about was the fact that my favorite era of films is the second era of films, which is the Heisei era.
Mine too.
It's the late 80s, early 90s era of films. That starts with Godzilla 1985, Return to Godzilla, and ends with Godzilla vs. Destroyer. There's a lot of just nods from those films in this movie.
Sure.
And that made me incredibly happy.
Yeah, no, it made me happy too. I do want to put a counterpoint. I'm not calling you wrong, Ben, but I want to put a counterpoint to what you said when we started this, which is that, you go to Godzilla movies for the monster stuff.
Yeah.
I do as well. But there's a problem when the movie is marketing itself a lot on its human cast and what they do, which this movie did heavily. The trailers are a lot about this being a serious film following its human characters, that they are relevant. And if you fail on that, that's still a problem, even if you're only there for the monster stuff.
And I want to say the best Godzilla movies have good human characters.
Yeah.
The worst Godzilla movies don't.
Most of the time.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Final Wars has B-movie entertaining human characters,
but I care
it's fantastic.
I care a lot about those characters.
But you care a lot about those characters.
Fu. It saves all.
Right. And that's the thing.
Tom Selleck.
And honestly, there is a difference between... Final Wars is a great example. That is a B movie that knows it's a B movie. This is a movie not trying to be a B movie. Therefore, there is more weight on its human characters to carry the film.
Okay.
Even if the monsters are great, there is still more weight because of how they structured the film that the human cast has to pull some of it. And in this film, they sometimes do and they sometimes don't. And that's the thing. I kind of want to wrap up the human talk if anybody else has any thoughts about the human beings.
That's fine, because I know what you're saying, but for me personally, I roll with it.
Didn't phase you. Yeah.
For sure.
It doesn't phase me at all. The human stuff I know is going to be there. They're in every Godzilla movie. It's obviously, it has to be there. But I was fine with it. I didn't completely hate it. I mean, yeah, when Emma wrestled David Lyons, sometimes it was pretty flat. Charles Dance doesn't need to be there, but I liked that he was, because I liked him being like the cocky British a-hole. Millie Bobby Brown, I was like, okay, sure, whatever.
Please don't tell me you're just going to start listing the characters of the movie.
I'm not. But all those beats, all the stuff that was going on with them, I was still like, I was invested. I was like, okay, I'll watch you have it. It may not be the greatest, but I know what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And them reacting to Godzilla, like when Marc was running out, I was like, who's outside? And Shen's like, who do you think?
Yeah.
Just hearing that, and their whole expression with seeing Godzilla for the first time, I was like, I like this.
Right.
This is fine.
My point was more just being like, I can go to this movie and still want just the monster stuff, which I did. But the movie is still set up to try to make me care about the human stuff. And if it fails in that, and I'm not getting enough monster action, which frankly I wasn't, not all the time. It's good when it happens, but there wasn't enough of it. Then I have reasons to have to think about the human stuff, and if it falls short, it falls short, and that sucks because I went for the monsters. I went not expecting anything good out of the human stuff.
It's a good way to segue into the monsters.
I got one last thing. This is a transition. I've talked about it before. My favorite stuff about Godzilla is how crazy and silly it gets. That's one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of the 2014 Godzilla. It's really grounded, and Godzilla's barely there. I want Final Wars. And I know that's unrealistic for all the Godzilla movies, but like for me, this was a nice halfway step to where I want Godzilla to be.
Sure.
It's got crazy weaponry. It's got a bunch of humans working with Godzilla. Godzilla with a bunch of tanks behind him and like planes. That shit's awesome.
Right.
I unfortunately the human stuff has to be good sometimes.
I counterpoint to Ryan real quick. I think that there is a place for both.
Yeah.
And I think, Final Wars has its place, but so does Godzilla 1985.
No, I know.
That is a much more grounded Godzilla movie.
For
Godzilla 1954, grounded Godzilla movie.
That's what I was saying. I like my type of Godzilla.
Yeah, there are a place for both, and I like both. Yeah. And when you could get this kind of type of movie that gives you, I think, honestly, a good part. It takes what Gareth Edwards did with the first film, grounding Godzilla into mythology, and giving it that type of mythological weight to it, and running with it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does. They run with that idea, and I think you get to a point where you almost have what could have been a perfect Godzilla movie.
Okay.
If the human characters are better.
I think of that where my struggle ends up on is the movie doesn't execute either path well enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't execute B-movie monster mashup well enough to compensate for the lack of human stuff, nor does it execute human serious character development stuff well enough to compensate for the other.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the monsters then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get this one right out of the way. I was disappointed by the amount of Mothra in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I said to you, Sparky Sparks. Mothra is the Captain Marvel of this movie. Shows up at the beginning, shows up at the end.
Yeah. I think I wasn't disappointed by it.
I think the marketing shows us more Mothra than we should have expected.
Probably. I wasn't disappointed by it. I was disappointed that I don't really think Rodan was necessary. I feel like Rodan was only there...
Except he has one of your favorite sequences in the movie.
I know, it's really kind of...
So thus he is necessary for that.
Right, but I think about the end sequence would just have been... would have been...
It would have been a 2-on-1 fight instead of a 2v2.
Yeah, and I think that would have been really cool.
But that was the first movie.
Ghidorah could have killed Rodan, but, like, you don't need... Like, Rodan... The thing is, like, Rodan at least provided an awesome visual scene.
Air fight.
Which is what you want, because that's what, if we're going to the monster movies for, that's what we want, is something like that. That was an incredible scene. I 100% agree. I am bummed Mothra did not have a similar thing. Mm-hmm. I have no scene that I can reference where I'm like, Mothra was just so cool in that. You know, like, I like how she stabs Rodan. That's neat. I like the design of her. I like the light and the colors of her and everything. It's
Gorgeous.
really great.
Yeah.
I just wish she was more of a presence in this film.
I really like the imagery of when Godzilla has fallen from the sky and she gets up on him and protects him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like that imagery, and you could tell it's like, you know, that whole thing,
bro.
and you kind of get a sense that, you know, one of the things I really like about 2014 is that Godzilla has a personality. You can tell what he's thinking at any time. It comes through really well. I don't think that's as prevalent in this film, and I do think that's kind of a failing in this film.
It has moments.
It has moments, but it's not as prevalent as I would have liked it to have been.
Sure.
Well, one of the moments that I think stands out is when he turns to Mothra and kind of has a what's the word? Like, he remembers Mothra. This is not the first time that they have met, or at least he has met a Mothra. You kind of get a familiarity.
They had history.
From this, and you get a familiarity. Sure. This film, there's a couple of times where I felt like Godzilla has been familiar with two creatures before, Mothra and Ghidorah. Like, they have met at one time.
Real quick, this is a tiny, like, probably never acknowledged in the film's theory. I have a theory that all the kaiju carry the memory of the previous. So when they're like, this is like Piccolo style stuff, or you know, Groot, as we talked about, like, they carry the memory of the one before.
Yeah,
interesting.
And so I think that, like, because we've already seen that skeleton of that Godzilla, right? So a Godzilla, I don't think there were more than one Godzilla necessarily for, like, an extended amount of time. No, but I don't mean, like, you know, on the level of, like, what we see in Kong, how many like apes there were and everything. But I do think that, like, however old this Godzilla may be, whether, you know, far back or not that far back, they carry that living memory of their ancestors. I think that's how the Titans probably work. Like, Mothra, the next Mothra will also have the same thing.
You know, it could be. I always assumed it was because we see Godzilla's temple, and you know, he's been living there for millions of years and evolving and absorbing the radiation. I think that's the sense that, you know, like Kong, Godzilla's the last of his kind. And that's kind of the idea that I can, like, there was at one time many Godzillas, many Mothras, Rodans, Behemoths, Mutos. At one time on the Earth, and then they've all gone extinct except for these.
Possibly.
That's how I always saw it.
No. I mean, like, I'm not disagreeing with that point. I just think that, like, the familiarity can come from this. I think that's something that can not only apply to these, but can apply to the older kaiju films.
Now,
that there's kind of a residual memory of the one before.
The idea of them being Titans from millions of years ago, that's a newish idea, right?
It is new.
Okay, yeah, and I actually really like that idea.
Me too.
I'm 100% down, and I'll get this out of the way because I was wrong, and I first I wasn't a fan of, like, the underwater civilization thing, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, it's Godzilla, who cares, whatever. It's old, it's mythology, whatever.
They've lived for millions of years.
Yeah, I really. I saw a weird Atlantis thing, and I'm like, I just got that in my brain, so
I'm not gonna lie,
I had to get out of it.
The stastatues are Godzilla.
They are,
Yeah,
and I saw that, and they have, like, staffs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Godzilla people.
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw
Shin Godzilla. Did someone say Shin Godzilla?
Oh god.
first time I saw Seatopia, as Ryan coined it when we were having dinner.
That's what
that's what it's called.
Oh, it is
In the 70s.
It's called Seatopia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First time
It's
I
a
saw
bad
Seatopia,
name.
my first thought was like, no effing way, we're going to Atlantis?
Yeah,
Did Godzilla speak
CBR.
Atlantis?
I gotta stop. We're going to CBR, but they're like, is Godzilla from Atlantis? And I'm like, no.
No,
So I just
Godzilla's-
put it in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an old civilization.
Yeah,
It's
but then when they
These
says,
monsters are millions of years old who
Yeah.
are worshipped as gods.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But then
I
when,
like that.
But then when they're like, no, this is older than the Greeks, older than the Romans, like, okay, yeah, I could dig
yeah,
that.
I
could dig
like that stuff. Yeah.
But I really liked the I loved every time they would show cave paintings of like Godzilla fighting Ghidorah.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Ghidorah,
Ancient enemies.
besides Godzilla, Ghidorah is by far my favorite monster. in
Let's
this film.
let's talk about Ghidorah.
Ghidorah's
'Cause-
effing cool.
Because Ghidorah, they have a hard time finding things about Ghidorah. Like each monster has some basis in myth. Like there are rumblings in mythology about each monster, but they can't.
you got the
They
Mothra
can't
carving.
find anything about Ghidorah, and they can't quite figure out why. I know what you're about to say. You're going to talk about the Skull Island thing.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
What I was gonna, because they show that image, but like that's different from like they know that the thing exists, but they don't
Yeah.
know like there's like all this lore from people and everything about the other kaiju, and that's what they're basing it on. Is they don't have this, and then all of a sudden they do.
It's Chen, right?
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, she literally says, I pieced this together.
This is why
It's awesome.
I wish there had been like experts on the things, and had been
Yeah.
like someone trying to figure this out.
So the idea of Ghidorah is that, and going to the idea that these creatures are millions of years old who are worshipped as gods, Ghidorah fell from the sky, keeping his alien origins from the Showa era.
Which
Hell
made
yeah.
me so happy.
He fell from the
Same.
sky, and he doesn't belong in our ecosystem.
Nope.
He's not part of the natural order.
So when he's around, there's hurricanes. He's his very presence of existence on our Earth is destroying the
He
Earth.
creates a Category 6.
Bro, this is Monster Hunter.
The
The
highest...
Elder Dragons
Yeah.
create storms around them.
Yeah, the highest category we've ever recorded, the highest it goes in hurricane-wise, is a Category 5.
Yeah.
They
He
think
created-
it's him. They don't think it's him
created-
at first.
They created he created Category
That's some
6.
some like disturbingly cool imagery.
Yeah.
It is.
Of just like a traveling thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
man, it looked really good.
Or even seeing DC that wrecked.
Oh man, DC got
And
bombed.
looking
Yeah.
at the idea of these monsters each have a kind of place in our ecosystem. Like they look like they belong on this planet. They have a reference point of creatures that we've seen in either history or something. Ghidorah doesn't. Ghidorah's look
Alien, baby.
is so unique from the world. And I really like how they do Ghidorah. Each head has its own personality. There's my favorite head. I have a favorite head.
It's the right head.
It's the right
Yeah.
head who's licking people off the ground.
And the middle
like,
head's like, stop that.
Yeah.
who grows back.
Yeah.
And
That was
seeing
insane seeing that.
Seeing Godzilla,
I was like, oh, this is my live action Hercules.
yeah, seeing Godzilla rip off Ghidorah's head was like, oh, and then seeing it just grow back like a reptile, I'm like, oh,
That was
unexpected.
And then when
Tongue
they-
first.
Yeah, and then tongue first, and then when
he's
they,
always licking something.
And then when I said like, yeah, Ghidorah fell from the sky, I'm like, they kept him as an alien. That makes sense. Aliens can do that weird shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
I really like that they lean into the ability because of the technology they're using where they can make him more snake-like.
Yeah.
They make his tails a little more like rattlers.
Uh-huh.
They have his heads move more like snake movements, and they give him even kind of hissing noises. I really appreciate that because that's stuff you can't do with
And
the
each head
guy
has
in a
its own
puppet
personality.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, but like I just really liked how they really tried to utilize all the different things they can do because it's not a puppet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like the last Godzilla movie I saw was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, where Mecha King Ghidorah shows up.
Uh-huh.
And let me tell you that I don't know, as much as I love the Hasty era films, that film was kind of hard for me to sit through.
Oh, I love that movie.
I
Real-
love dudes in suits, man.
Real quick. When we were doing our review of, well, I guess it wasn't necessarily a review, a discussion of Godzilla the Monster Planet, one of our biggest complaints were...
Oh no, it was a review.
Okay, well, one of our biggest complaints was we were seeing Godzilla do the same thing. He's just lumbering Godzilla again. And I remember Ryan saying that, well, that's just Godzilla. That's what Godzilla does. And to the point that this is a good example of you have this different technology, you have the different medium to use this. You don't need to do the same thing. Like if they had just CGI'd Ghidorah with flapping heads, well,
Yeah.
stupid, like just like he is in the show in the old movies. Like
Silly.
that's useless. That's a waste of the technology.
There is an anime that does that on purpose, but it's a comedic anime, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm into it.
The fact that they utilize it, man, I hate that anime series. That is the worst Godzilla thing. I will never watch the rest of that.
The Netflix
I'll never
anime.
own it. This is so bad. Anyway, the fact that they use so much to make these animals feel like animals and real is really great. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Ghidorah
aspect of these.
postures like a peacock.
Yeah, it's really great.
Ghidorah, the way when he like brings his wings out to try and intimidate Godzilla, to try and make himself look bigger. I'm like, man, this is just so cool.
Like when Rodan is like first unleashed,
Yeah.
and like we've seen in the trailers, but like the wave of his wings
It's so
brings
good.
people up, and they like die as they're twirling in the air.
Yeah.
Like that's
So
some
great.
heinous shit, man.
It's
No,
so
even-
cool to see that kind of
Even
effect.
seeing Rodan kneel before Ghidorah, and everyone realized that Ghidorah
Long
was,
live the king.
when Ghidorah is like, and even when Serizawa says Ghidorah and Godzilla have fought before.
Apex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Ghidorah is like Godzilla, an apex predator. A species higher than the others, more powerful than the others.
And since Ghidorah is an alien, and they said like it's not natural to our ecosystem, it causes all the Titans to go crazy and just attack everything.
Yeah, that's why when he was trapped in ice, it was perfect because he was frozen and no one had to touch him.
Megatron.
I was good. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't care. But the one thing that got me sparks was when they dropped the oxygen destroyer and the fish started bubbling up, and you had to bring up the
That's a lot of fish.
yeah.
Oh, I thought I heard someone say
Yeah,
that.
I
So,
That
so
son
real,
of a
so
bitch.
real quick, let's talk about the fact that the oxygen destroyer is in this movie. This is a weapon from the first Godzilla movie.
Yes, 2 seconds before we do that. How cool is it that we have a movie where Godzilla leaps out of the ocean to grab Ghidorah and pull him into the ocean?
Yeah.
That's never
Yeah.
happened.
That's
And
awesome.
that
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Just like when they're traveling in on the argue, Godzilla's like, F you!
Yeah.
And it just brings Ghidorah
So yeah,
down.
so the oxygen destroyer is in this movie, and it's
Yes,
the
it
weapon
was.
that killed Godzilla in the very first Godzilla movie.
Yes. 54.
And they use it. The military use it, and you get a little sense that the fish are dying around. So they've been experimenting with it. And so when they finally launch it, and it looks like the oxygen destroyer. We also get masers in this movie, which is pretty great.
Right.
But showing the oxygen destroyer, and it almost kills Godzilla.
Right.
It weakens Godzilla severely.
Doesn't kill Ghidorah at all.
It doesn't harm Ghidorah at all because he's not part of this.
Ghidorah just rises from the ocean like, well, nothing happened.
Just
Grew a
kills
new
all
head.
the
Yep.
fish.
Yep.
Which I was okay with.
Biolante.
Because, I mean, yeah, I know when people, like, if they're going to reference the original Godzilla film, or even Godzilla versus Destroyer, they're like, oh, the oxygen destroyer kills everything. It's like, the Admiral does say it's a prototype, so it's not going to be 100% effective.
Yeah.
Right.
So it still makes sense, but...
Well, also it's a little bit dumb in the original movie that it just disintegrates him, bones and all.
Yeah. Oh, it just disintegrates him to
Well, not
the bone.
bones.
Not bones.
Not bones in Tokyo SOS, but the original was bones.
But not.
It's bones. They disintegrate the bones.
Took everything but
In the very original movie,
This isn't important.
in the 1954 movie, he is disintegrated down to the bone. It is gone. His bone structure is gone.
Mecha Ghostzilla.
Godzilla. Yeah.
Whatever.
Tokyo SOS doesn't.
It's like
belong
its
in the same
spirit is
continuity.
taking it over.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
God.
just the fact that they, like we were saying earlier, the director loved the source material. That's why he threw in the oxygen. I didn't think I was going to hear the words oxygen destroyer in an American
Yeah,
film.
it was cool to hear like we have a prototype bomb to oxygen. I'm like, oh, nice, nice.
And it even kind of looks like an oxygen
It
destroyer.
is designed to look like that.
Yeah,
to look
nice.
like it.
Which I was like, yeah, this is great.
Right.
And then we see Godzilla not die.
Oh, I
I
love-
think Godzilla goes through a wormhole.
Rick's whole thing is like, come on, big guy. Come on, big guy.
Yeah.
They're trying to urge Godzilla on.
And seeing Ghidorah just not even... It's like, psh, what's this going to do, little bitch?
That just reminded me of a human thing I wanted to talk about real
Sure,
quick.
I guess so.
Kyle Chandler, his character Marc.
Oh, yeah, how
I
he-
don't like how constantly he flip flops about how he feels about Godzilla.
Oh,
I wish
yeah.
they'd pick a lane with
Specifically
that.
at the beginning,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, like Godzilla's dead. You got your wish, and he's like, no, but no, I didn't really want him dead. I'm like, you gotta make up your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I especially didn't like how they never utilized directly the fact that he photographs animals and should have a more clear understanding and appreciation
There's
of Godzilla.
one-
No, I know what it is.
It's just
but
one
I'm
thing.
saying like they didn't go for it.
I know.
And they just kept him on this line of like, I hate Godzilla, but he can be reasoned with. But I hate Godzilla, and it's like this makes no sense, dude. Like, pick a lane here.
Serizawa goes to save Godzilla.
Yeah.
Well, first, oh, we can't launch the thing. Oh, we can't do it remotely. Someone's got to sacrifice themselves. That's what we wrote.
That's some Star Trek logic. I'll buy it.
Bye bye, Sarah's.
I just wish we talked about it earlier. But like, I didn't want both of them to go. Like, I think it negates both of it.
Sally Hawkins shouldn't have died.
Yeah.
If she hadn't died, this would be a cool way for Serizawa to go out.
And I even like the way he
like him
goes.
looking at the watch. I like him going up and touching Godzilla
Goodbye,
and saying
old
goodbye,
friend.
old friend,
I
in
love that.
Japanese.
I like how Serizawa goes out a lot. He gets up close to Godzilla for the first time, and he gets to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And then he nukes his entire home.
I dislike that a lot.
He just destroys Godzilla's home.
Not just his home, but like this civilization that is like that we have never seen before, possibly. So this is an entire civilization that's new to us, that we can like.
Well, remember, Rick records everything.
Yeah,
I'm also sure there's more. There's probably more.
but
Yeah.
like
Because there were in the end credits there were newspapers that flashed that they found underground Hollow Earth civilizations. They
Okay.
found
cool.
more temples.
Okay, cool.
So
But
Godzilla is juiced
Yeah,
at this
but-
point.
but
Godzilla's
Brandon-
ready to go.
Brandon, I actually did have something to say because at first I did not want Ken Watanabe to die.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it
I
to
do
happen
like
either.
I do like his scene, but at the same time it's like, can you just live?
I still don't want him to be dead, but
Yeah.
I like the scene.
I would have liked him to be in the last one.
It's weird. It's a catch-22 because
He's in Godzilla's mouth at the end. Just, I survived.
no, it's a weird catch-22 because I get that someone had to detonate the bomb remotely, but I don't know. Just the way his final moment with Godzilla, great. The way he got up there,
Yeah.
I don't like.
I feel like someone who has as much information and knowledge about Titans, like he should not be the person to die.
Especially about Godzilla.
This because like he's like
but
the expert.
but no other character was built well enough to be the person who did it.
True.
Ideally, it could have been like Thomas Middleditch.
Yeah.
If his character had been handled right, it could have
Yeah.
been him.
One of the 7 other characters who had nothing to do.
Although realistically, would have meant less.
See, the problem is it had to have been Serizawa.
yeah.
But Sally Hawkins didn't need to die.
Yeah.
Or they could have just not written a plot where someone needed to go up there and
Yeah,
die
they
and
could have
just
just
shot
dropped
the
the
nuke
bomb
at him.
on him. He's like probably my favorite character in this, and I'm like, I like that guy. I want him to continue. I want him to
Yeah.
be my Sam Jackson. And now it's
I
now who is
agree.
it?
I agree. But however, I do like the plot.
Yeah.
I like how he goes out. I like that whole thing. It's a great way. It's a great character beat.
Yeah.
The only thing that sours it for me, the only thing in period end of thing is that Sally Hawkins died.
Yeah.
If Sally Hawkins didn't die, that moment would land 100% better.
Sure,
Yes.
but she did, so it doesn't work in this movie
Yeah.
as well as it should.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think.
Yeah, so going back to when Godzilla is juiced and he is about to kick ass and
Rick
take
even
names.
Rick even says, "What Serizawa juiced him."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like glowing blue. He's just radiating blue.
He's about to
He's gonna
explode.
explode. Looks great.
Call back to Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Burning Godzilla.
Which
I-
I was kind of hoping to see.
I understand why. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I was kind of hoping to see when he does turn into Burning Godzilla after Mothra gives the
His life force.
life force and Godzilla's glowing red. I was kind of hoping to see Godzilla do his straight atomic breath instead of atomic blast.
Oh, his
where
Superman shockwave attack.
his Superman supernova, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was okay with it because I'm like, that's from Godzilla vs. Destroyer. This is Burning Godzilla.
Yeah.
I love this because Godzilla vs. Destroyer is one of my favorite Godzilla films.
It's like a catch-22 for me because it's super cool that Burning Godzilla's there, but he's there for
Yeah.
like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I kind of wish I wanted more, but it doesn't make sense because he's an atomic exploder.
Well,
Like,
the problem with Burning Godzilla is that at the point that Godzilla gets to that point, he is melting down.
No,
and in Destroyer he does die.
Yeah.
He does die, and his son absorbs the radiation and mutates into Godzilla, and that's how that keeps going.
Okay.
But in this one, he expels enough radiation to cool his body down.
Yeah.
Almost like Shin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wish it wasn't just a shockwave attack or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because he just did it twice. I'm like, oh, okay.
But the fight in Boston between him and Ghidorah.
Disintegrates Ghidorah.
Yeah, but even when Mothra comes in to help and Rodan flies out of the clouds, I wasn't expecting that at all. I love that. I mean, yes, there is a little too little.
Rodan coming in for the kill.
Well, I do agree with Sparks. There's too little Mothra, but I'm not that big of a Mothra fan. I'm a Godzilla fan. I wanted to see Godzilla fight Ghidorah. I got that. Rodan versus Mothra, great side fight. That's kind of like the warm up fight before the main fight.
Yeah.
And I was fine with it. Even when Rodan had Mothra pinned up against the building, I'm like, no, don't kill Mothra like that. And then when Mothra stabs Rodan, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't kill. I mean, Mothra comes back because with the egg.
Yeah,
but,
we get the egg.
I was really worried. There was like, oh man, are they just gonna kill off all
It's
these
like
kaiju?
Mothra dies. I think Mothra dies.
There'll
in
always be more Mothras.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
Mothra die in every movie anyways?
Not every.
Nope.
Okay, but she dies in a
She
lot.
doesn't die in Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth.
I understand you
You're
don't
right.
like her, so it's hard to
so
track.
here's
but-
this isn't an actual complaint. It was in my mind. The end plot where all the monsters converge on Boston reminds me of Pacific Rim 2, where all the monsters converge
On
on
Tokyo?
on a signal.
yeah.
I guess so.
I mean, it's not like it's funny. Like, oh,
I mean,
they
I
both.
kind of resent you for
bringing
comparing
it
it to a worse movie.
No, I know. If I'm being honest, I like Pac Rim 2 a lot.
I did too.
I know.
This Boston made me remember another human thing. I
You
don't like.
can't help it.
I don't like how the forced narrative of oh yeah, we moved to Boston for a while, which they drop a few times just to make sense of why Bobby Brown has a place to go in Boston.
Oh yeah.
that was dumb.
I think the line is
Dumb and coincidental.
To be fair, I think the line is we moved back to Boston. They had lived there before. That's why Kyle Chandler has a very
It is dumb and coincidental.
very heavy Boston accent.
Although, side note, me being a Dodgers fan and seeing Fenway get wrecked is kind of vengeance for 2018 kind of makes me happy.
Sports vengeance.
So real bad.
It's stupid. It's silly. I know. But
You can feel your feels. That's fine.
go Dodgers.
Shall we wrap up?
When Godzilla comes out of the sea after being nuked up, it's real great because of the music.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Good way to end. I think the music is incredible.
the soundtrack is the best soundtrack to any Godzilla film. Period.
Yeah.
100%.
I would agree.
yeah.
I 100% think the best thing to come out of this movie, regardless of anything else, is the score.
Yeah, I'm sure you've all heard me sing the praises of Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, or GMK. I think the soundtrack is incredible. I think one of the best soundtracks of Godzilla is one of the best Godzilla soundtracks ever. This trumps that. This is the best Godzilla soundtrack.
When we first
It
listened
has
to it,
budget to be one of
Yeah.
the best scores ever.
like when we first listened to the Godzilla theme, like it's good, but we were listening to it on your phone.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hearing it on IMAX and hearing like the Broly yells,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking
So good.
awesome,
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Like specifically like when the theme song is playing and Godzilla's doing his thing, I'm
Uh-huh.
like, this is exactly why I come. Can we? I know it's impossible to have a 2-hour just this, but just can we? Can we just do it?
I could have done with about 5 to 10 minutes more of that kind of feel in the film.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, even today, what I loved about IMAX is I felt my seat vibrate with every Godzilla roar.
It was nice.
Every single one.
Oh,
I
we get
felt-
the classic roar.
Yeah, we do, which is great. And every time when I first saw it, when I saw it yesterday, and when I saw it today with you guys, every time when he rises out of the oceans and you hear the dun 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 dun, and when he's finally facing off Ghidorah and you hear the original theme, I'm like, this is just great. We nailed
First
it.
American Godzilla to have their
We
theme.
finally freaking nailed
Good
it.
job, Bear. Man, Bear McCreary does so much shit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
TV and movies. Like that. The dude does like
And video
games.
And video games. Yeah.
And even the end credit, like, sorry to cut you off,
No, you're
Ryan,
good.
but the end credits, I was singing in my seat along
good-
with the
man,
end credits of
it's,
Godzilla, and it was perfect. It was one of the end credits where I was like, I want to pay attention to the headlines because that's gonna be clues.
You guys saw the credits of all the monsters were themselves, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is great. The sound mixing on this film is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cinematography is very good. The
Oh, yeah.
color palette is really strong
Uh-huh.
and vibrant. I just wish that there were a few less dark shots.
Yeah.
I understand that there is a plot device of the darkness because of Ghidorah bringing a storm, but I told Brandon this, it bums me out that there's never a single shot in this movie where I really see how golden bright Ghidorah is.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, that I could.
That
I
not
could
a single shot
Yes.
in this movie that happens, and that bums me out. Like, I've seen that toy of this version, and he is a bright gold, and I do not see it in this movie.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if that was a actual choice to like keep the vibrancy kind of down. Because like,
maybe
how bright do you want to get it when you're trying to be like
'cause one of
dark
the-
and gritty?
Because there's a lot of really. My two favorite shots of this movie is when the Argo's flying into King Ghidorah, and you see him. You see his glowing the eyes of his three heads,
Yeah.
Sure.
being menacing. And also in the second one is the fight in Boston where you see Godzilla's reflection on the building and King Ghidorah's
That's an
like,
awesome shot.
and Ghidorah looks up and goes, "Oh shit!"
That's a great shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mothra comes in for the save.
Yep.
But yeah, that was, I think that the shots are really well lined up. I think
Oh,
mostly the
yeah.
colors are very vibrant. I like the way that they make Rodan this very distinct red color palette. Ghidorah has his, Godzilla has his blue, and Mothra has her vibrant bright light.
Uh-huh.
That really works.
I think they
I
also-
just wish that I could
Yeah.
see more of them
I agree.
in actual light.
Yeah, I can agree with
That is the thing that I do feel is detracted out of this movie, because all the old monster movies, yes, they're dudes in suits, but you can also see all their colors. They're in the daytime most of the time.
Yeah.
So you can see all these colors and everything. I just wish we had a little bit more of that somewhere in this
Yeah,
movie.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a little lacking in my opinion.
The credits had I believe it was the first actor to be in the Godzilla suit. He passed away.
Yeah.
And that was
Yes.
him.
That was
That's a
him.
really
Yes.
nice little
Yeah,
like.
that was really awesome.
Thanks for being Godzilla, my man.
There was there also another Godzilla roar at the end of that? Because I thought I heard one.
No, I don't believe so.
I don't
Never
think
mind.
so. There's a bunch of kaiju teased up in this movie, like not
17.
like visually, but like that they're around.
Yeah.
We get one that may or may not be Kumonga, because who knows?
The giant
But it's a
spider.
giant spider, so I'm going to say it's Kumonga.
Is that Mastodon new?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It
And
kinda-
another Muto who I really didn't need.
I honestly thought for a second it was Muto Prime.
I was
I was like, wait, didn't he?
It
did
would
he die?
need like more orange
Orange,
stuff and
yeah.
all that.
Actually, one of my complaints is that when they're looking at all the other kaiju are rising, we don't see them. I get that there's legal issues with Toho, but I don't know. It would have been nice.
I agree.
I
I
would.
think
Sorry, go on.
I think one of the things is like they can't tease you too hard, because if it
Right.
was like, oh look, it's Gigan and it's Megalon, it's all these guys, like,
Yeah.
wow, I want to see that movie.
I'm gonna be saying a Brandon here. I was hoping for Anguirus.
Yeah.
I
Same.
was hoping
I
for
was
an
too.
Anguirus lookalike.
Oh no, I wasn't hoping for Anguirus in this movie. I'm hoping
no,
for Anguirus down the line.
I was hoping for an Anguirus lookalike.
I believe that the reason why we don't see all 17 kaiju is because they want to leave it open for the idea that Toho could fill in the gaps with
That's fun.
if they ever finally let go of the rights, because getting them to let go of the rights for these three was difficult.
Yeah.
Especially after 98, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
But-
doing anything, and I've told you guys before, the rights issues for Godzilla are numerous.
Uh-huh.
Like most of those all those films are not owned all those films are owned by different people in America. Godzilla is the only thing they lease out, and they don't even lease out the roar or the theme. They only the character look. Mm-hmm. So you have to go. It's more money to get the roar. It's more money to get the theme. It's more money to get each different monster.
I guess they like that 2014 enough to be like, all right, you can have them.
Yeah.
You can have it.
I mean, they gotta give them a good pitch.
But I do like the tease of Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, I
Just wish the end credit. I wish the end credit scene was a tease for it.
I was gonna say we don't know that it isn't. I was gonna say that I wish. I think that the simple way to handle this was just to have less than 17.
Yeah.
I didn't need 17 that I'm not gonna see.
Yeah.
It's weird that I don't see more of all these kaiju and these things happening in this movie. If it's so much a big event around the world, we're not seeing enough of it. The fact that I only see like 3 other dudes is not enough. I think you could have just cut down the number. There can always be more kaiju. It's not hard.
Let's get out of here, shall we?
I really like the last shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Godzilla roaring in front of all of them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually really similar to the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer with the way they backlight him.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta talk about the post-credit scene.
The game is on.
The game is on. Do we think...
the credits does have the Kong Godzilla tease up of
Yeah.
on the cave painting.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that one. I'm sorry. I meant the Charles Dance one. With,
No, I
with
know.
Ghidorah head. Do we think that is Mecha Ghidorah? Do we think that's a Destroyer? Do we think that's what do we think? Because
No.
that's clearly set up. Clearly set up. What
When
are
I
they doing?
first saw it, my
know.
thought was it could be a lead into Mecha Ghidorah.
I don't think you could do that.
I don't think you can.
But you can't
But-
do Mecha Godzilla,
but-
right?
I mean, you can't do mecha anything in this franchise.
I know.
But why show a dead head symbolizing like rejuvenation, like bringing something back to life? You know what I mean? Like
Because-
they set it up, even if we don't want that. You
I'm
know what I
thinking
mean?
it's going to be Destroyer.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's Destroyer because obviously that was the same place because it was the same place where they dropped the Oxygen Destroyer, and Destroyer, the monster in the original Hasty era film, became Destroyer because of the Oxygen Destroyer.
Well, what about this? Perhaps there's a way that Charles Dance could plotty a way to re-energize the head, and it could grow a body back.
Just be Ghidorah again?
Just be Ghidorah again.
It could.
I think that would be fine, but I think in terms of blockbuster movies, you have to up the scale, or like people won't care.
See, now I've always been against the idea of upping the scale.
Well, no,
I don't think
we don't.
I don't think you have to do that.
I know we don't, but I think in terms of having a third trilogy final movie, you can't just have the same bad guy again. You
As
know
far
what I mean?
although as of now, the final movie in this franchise is Kong vs. Godzilla.
Yeah,
Ghidorah is revived and flies back into space, grabs Gigan, and comes back.
Now you're talking. I just want Gigan.
All right, so let's
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. So, Sparks, we'll go to your final thoughts.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think that where the human stuff falls short for me. Oh man, we didn't even talk about like how their plot was the rejuvenation of the Earth through the
Oh, they're
radiation energy they leave
eco-terrorists.
behind.
They're eco-terrorists, yeah. Oh, it's basically like a Thanos plot.
Yeah.
Like, destroy the world so we'll regrow, it's fine.
That was a little weird for me. That plot point.
Sure.
I think I have a problem with when you put forth this idea of what's something that's actually a prevalent problem in our life, which is climate change and everything, and you put it forth and it's like, this will solve the problem, and I'm like, cool, I actually don't have a reason to root against these bad guys because it would solve a problem that's real and nobody else has a solution in this film.
Yeah.
It's the Sam Jackson thing, Kingsman.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like when the good guys who are trying to stop the bad thing don't have a proper like. Well, this is why we shouldn't allow this to happen because we could fix it this other way.
It's only because King Ghidorah is a monster
Is
from
an alien
space.
from space that they decide, oh, we messed up.
Yeah, so like if it was just Godzilla and all these guys, like what if this was a good thing and they're the bad guys?
Right.
That would be a fun story to actually tell.
But because Ghidorah showed up and he unleashed all the monsters all at once, and they just
All
let
out
him loose
monster.
on a rampage, then it's like, oh, we messed
Battle
up.
Royale.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, Villain stuff is lame. Vera Farmiga's phoning it in, and that sucks. I wish that the human stuff had been handled a little better. When you have this big of a cast, you should just distribute all your responsibilities and priorities, make them actual characters better. Because it was close. It was close, but it wasn't there. The monster stuff was really awesome. Visually, it's really great. I wish that there had been a little bit more of it in this movie. Could have done with a little more of it. 8.5.
8.5, cool. Ryan?
Yes, I echo what Spark said already. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of the human stuff, but, you know, we come here for the Godzilla stuff, and that stuff was truly exceptional and really, really fun. It's where I go to the movies, especially IMAX. Go see this movie on the biggest screen if you do want to see it. I wish the human stuff didn't bother me as much, but, like, I just can't turn that part off. I wish I could. I'd give this, like, a 7.5. Like, it's definitely the coolest Godzilla, like, battles. Like, we are at a point where CGI, we can do whatever we want. I will fast forward through half this movie and watch the end. I like it. 7.5.
Ben?
Hail to the king.
Is that your final thoughts?
9. Solid 9. I love this movie.
9.
The fights were great. Everything I wanted in 2014 that I wanted in 2014 and didn't get, I got in this movie. The human stuff does not bother me. The fights, like, even one of my favorite parts is when Rodan's trying to challenge Godzilla, and Godzilla's like, bow, bitch. He just bows. It's like, yeah, that's right. You bow to him. Godzilla is just, he's just great. I love this movie. See it on the biggest screen possible. 9.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you guys said. Though I was on board for half of the human.
I was going to say, do you? I don't think you echo all of us.
No, but I do echo a lot of it. So I think I'm comfortable with an 8. Solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 Godzukis.
Wow. 4 out of 10 Manilas.
Wow.
Stop it right there.